They say Iceland is the land of fire and ice. I have made multiple visits to this wonderful island nation, and I will say I have seen both. From spewing lava mountains to frozen ice caves, the European nation of Iceland quickly draws one's mind back to a time when Vikings first discovered this landscape. I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to be led through some of the most beautiful parts of northern Iceland on a tour organized by the curator of the Motorcycle Museum of Iceland. We were joined by a group of local riders who showed me that the Vikings of Iceland still exist, this time on horses made of iron. I hope you enjoy this final episode of the season, filmed entirely in the Akureyri region of Iceland. Hello and thank you for tuning in to The Next Story. I'm your host Justin and we are here today in Akureyri, Iceland at the Motorcycle Museum of Iceland. In just a moment we're going to be going inside a meeting with Tomas, the curator of the museum, who's going to give us a short tour. This weekend just happens to coincide with the International Journal of Motorcycle Studies having a convention here full of lectures, and we're going to be meeting with a local historian of motorcycling here in Iceland who's just finishing up a lecture right now. Okay, so we'll see you inside. Hello and thank you for tuning in to The Next Story. I'm your host Justin and I'm here today with Tomas, the curator of the Motorcycle Museum of Iceland in Akureyri, Iceland. How are you doing today?
How are you doing? Thank you.
Very, very good. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm very excited to be here.
You're welcome.
So tell me a bit about the history of this museum. How did this museum get started?
Yeah, the history for the museum started actually in this room here. In 2006, this man here, he was coming home from, there's a kind of a party where all motorcyclists meet in the summertime. And he had an accident and unfortunately he died. And he had a plan to open a small museum. He had about 25 bikes. He had a plan to open a small museum with his bike. He wanted to open a small museum with soup kitchen or something like that.
Okay.
And but after he died, his friends and family wanted to make this dream of his come through.
It started off with his personal collection, which is what we have in this room here.
Yeah.
And then from there, how did it build? How did you keep getting more motorcycles? With donations or?
Yeah, both. When he passed away, there were 4 brothers. He had 3 brothers, and they had a company here in Akureyri. Part of the company, because when he passed away, he didn't have wife or children, so his brothers, they owned this part of the company, so they just sold part of it and put it into his building here.
Okay.
So he started this himself, you could say that. But his brothers, they have been buying some bikes. And today we have about 15 or 16 bikes, which is owned by the museum and this family of his.
Oh wow.
Then the rest of the bikes are, of course, we have a lot of bikes donated, and it's getting more and more. And the museum is always full at the time. I have to get some of them out, but that's another story. And of course, we have also bikes for loan from people all over Iceland. And our goal is to try to have some changes every year.
Okay.
This hall here is always the same. This is a personal bike, some personal thing from him. And the museum is a museum who shows the story of motorcycling in Iceland for more than 120 years.
So you have a distinct day, you were saying, where the bikes are all started?
Yeah, startup day.
Startup day?
Once a year. Close to here in Akureyri, they call it bíladagar, it's a car day, and then we have some races with cars, and a lot of people come to Akureyri, and we are also having the start-up day in the same time.
Okay.
And then we take the bikes out, start them up. Always getting more and more difficult to start them, but we still manage to get them running. All these three, we started them last summer, and in kind of a memory of this guy here, because he passed away last winter, and he was restoring a lot of bikes. He was called Sneak #1. He was restoring bike. He has been restoring a bike for 40 years or something like that.
Oh wow!
And he was still working when he passed away, working on bike, especially the old British bike.
Okay. And what's his name again?
Hilmar.
Okay. Okay, so can you tell me about this bike we're looking at here, the Suzuki?
Yeah, the Suzuki here, it's a bike from a guy called Högni. He went with his wife in a tour, you can see here.
Now this is a book somebody wrote about?
Yeah, they wrote this book about this trip, and they made more trips, and I'm not sure if they are still traveling, but he donated this bike to the museum because it has been written. He has been driving 50,000 kilometers on it.
Wow.
And it was too expensive to repair it, because when he's traveling, you have to trust the bike.
Okay.
So he donated the bike to the museum.
Okay, it wasn't as trustworthy anymore.
He thought it was too expensive to rebuild the engine, and so he just bought a new bike. And we like to have, for example, a bike like this. This is a story about the bike. Here is a book, and because this is a bike, but the story behind the bike, that is the most important for us, to have a story about the bikes. And more or less all the bikes here in the museum have stories, Icelandic stories behind them. Not all, but most of them. And you can go to auction, or you can buy whatever you want if you have enough money.
Sure.
But to buy stories, that's not possible.
Yeah.
They're not available. You have to make them. The two brothers, Sverrir and Einar, they took a world tour on a bike like two bikes like this in 2007. These guys are both in a business, and one of them is living somewhere in I think China or somewhere. And it's probably their way to get rid of the work for a minute and just drive around on the bikes.
Yeah.
Later he went on a Central South America tour. I'm not quite sure how that tour was, but this bike has been here, and it's ready. It looks like it's ready to. I'm not sure if it's ready, but it looks like it's ready to take next tour.
Yeah.
All the baggage on, spare parts, Icelandic flag, and old dirt.
It's ready for the next story.
Yeah, the next story.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit about the history of the police motorcycles that we've got here?
Yeah, here in Akureyri, the history of motorcycling, the police motorcycle is not very long. It's 4 bikes.
4 bikes?
4 bikes.
Okay.
This one here, in a from 1959 or 8, I can't remember. This is the first police bike in Akureyri.
Oh wow.
You can see picture of some guys on the bikes here, but this is the first bike. After this one was the second one. It came in 1973, and this is the only police motorcycle in Iceland. Police motorcycles were usually Harleys.
Oh, so the Moto Guzzi was Akureyri?
In Akureyri.
Okay.
It was from 1973 to 1983.
Okay.
And every summer, the guy who rode this bike, 1983, when the police sold the bike, every summer when you have the start-up day, we have another police motorcycle downstairs.
Okay.
It's a Yamaha 1300, 15 years old or whatever.
Okay.
We use that. It's very good to use that when you take a tour with old bikes. Then it's very good to have a police motorcycle in the front. Then you can use the lights and the siren to get get the way clear.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about this bike here.
Yeah, actually it's a little interesting bike because these bikes were never imported to Reykjavik or other places in Iceland, only here in Akureyri.
Okay.
And the reason is that there was an old man who lived here. He had a store, he was selling some lights to the roof, and he was selling sewing machine.
Okay.
And these sewing machines were made by this company here, Gritsner. And when he was ordering the sewing machines, he saw that they were also producing bikes. So he ordered, I think it was 6, 8, or we're not sure, but there are around a little bit less than 10 bikes. They all came here to Akureyri. They are all gone, except this bike here.
Oh wow!
It's called Monza, Gritsner Monza. And this one is have not been restored. It's original tires and everything, and it's a little special because it only came here to Akureyri.
Yeah.
It's and they were quite powerful. But
did the company also make the fastest sewing machines in the world?
Yeah, probably. Probably. I'm not sure.
All right. So tell me a little bit about this Henderson model we're looking at here.
Yeah, this Henderson here is from, at least we thought it was from 1918. The engine is from 1918, but probably it's 1919.
Yeah.
This bike came to Akureyri 1918 or 19.
Okay.
This picture here is taken here in it's probably 800 meters from here. The brothers, Espelin brothers, they imported this bike and tried to sell it. We don't know if they sold it, but there was an old man, this one here. He found this bike. Actually, he was going to a workshop in Reykjavik and saw an engine on the table. And he was asking the guys, what engine is that? And he was told that it was from this motorcycle.
Oh wow!
And when he at that time the frame of the motorcycle had been thrown away in the garbage, so he just found the frame, bought the engine from the owner of it, and kept it. That was in close to 1970 or something like that, and he kept it for a couple of years. Or always going to rebuild the bike, but of course he knew that there was a lot of work. You can see this is the original part from the bike. It's in a very bad shape.
Oh yes.
And the engine was broken. Here in Iceland, in that time, the roads were graveled road or not. You cannot be called a road. It was very rough, and these frames they usually broke.
Okay.
And then the bikes were thrown away, but the engine was a lot of engines were used to drive the cooling system for the farmers. That they have to have when they put the grass in the barn.
Yeah.
They have to cool it down.
Okay.
So otherwise it gets hot and maybe cause fire.
Spontaneous combustion.
Yeah. So they have to cool it, and they used old motorcycle engines to run this fans.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, that was here. At least here, it was used here in Iceland.
Okay.
But this engine was not used for a fan like this. It was used to turn a concrete machine.
Okay.
And concrete machine, are not moving very fast. They're standing there. So and it's an air-cooled engine. So of course at the end it just got stuck and
would overheat.
And of course, like I said, the bike is nice.
Yes.
But the story of the bike
is incredible.
Came here to Akureyri more than 100 years ago.
Yeah.
That's what we are. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Hello, and thank you for tuning in to the next story. I'm your host Justin, and I'm here today with Njall. Close, all right. Yeah. My Icelandic is absolutely terrible. Can you tell me your last name?
Gunnlaugsson.
Gunnlaugsson.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And so you are really a historian on an expert on the history of motorcycling in Iceland. You are basically the expert, from what I'm understanding. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I started collecting photos and archives about the registrations of motorcycles here, because you can find actually a lot of stuff like that here, and that spurred my interest in the subject. Being a motorcyclist myself, of course, and motorcycles have been both my work and my hobby for almost 40 years.
Wow. So what kind of work have you done with motorcycling?
Everything that you can do here in Iceland, I think. I founded the motorcycle touring company Biking Viking. Yeah, back in 2003. Cool. And I've been a motorcycle teacher since 1998. I've been working in the Riders with a group called Sniglar. That's the association here for motorcycles.
Sniglar?
Yeah.
Okay.
And snails.
Snails.
Because we like to drive slow. We competed in it also in our national rally every year.
Okay.
And yeah, trying to do all we can do with motorcycles for the time we have here in Iceland. You know, we have a short riding season. But,
so how long is that riding season?
Well, we are in Akureyri now. It's a little bit shorter there, but we can ride maybe from early April till mid-October usually in Reykjavik area. But yeah, mostly we ride out maybe 6-7 months. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, where I'm at in New York in the United States, I can't say it's a lot different. You know, riding season for most people is generally, you know, it kind of opens up March into April, and then, you know, a lot of people start winterizing their bikes October into November time frame, so not too much different. Yeah, so that's all right. But I'd imagine temperatures probably get a bit colder here. I mean, here we are right now, it's the end of July, and when I left New York, it was, you know, pushing 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and coming here, and it's closer to 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's perfect for us.
This is fantastic. Yeah, absolutely.
We like it. It's good.
But now the winter time it's got to get fairly cold. So even those that are riding with studs on their tires have got to be bundled up pretty good, huh?
Well, not so cold, because the main cold here in Iceland comes from the wind.
Okay.
Because of the Gulf Stream, we don't have really cold winters. You know, we would find it really cold if it's like a minus 15, 20 or something like that. But when you add the wind factor, then it gets really cold.
Oh, sure.
I remember, sometimes in the summer too, I remember riding to Akureyri from Reykjavik on the 16th of June in -2 in Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it was pretty cold.
I know I just watched you give a lecture here with the International Journal of Motorcycle Studies, going over the first 50 years of Icelandic motorcycling. And you had a lot of stuff that I thought was really cool that you touched on in there. What really surprised me was how early it came along. You said 1905?
Yeah, 1905. That was the first motorcycle that came here. And it was a Swiss-made bike from Switzerland. And that was sold in Denmark for the Scandinavian market. And the guy that brought it over here was actually the first driver of the first car here. And they were competing, the car and the motorcycle, getting the best times from towns in close to Reykjavik, and the motorcycle, of course, was much quicker.
Yeah, that's very cool. Now, you said you started logging the registrations.
Yeah.
Was that difficult to find? I mean, you know, I know we have Department of Motor Vehicles in the United States. I'd imagine there's some government body that normally tracks that here?
Yeah, well, you could find it in old archives, and because many of it was the police mostly that did the early registrations, and they kept the records in many cases, and you could find them. But the main thing, it was on sheets of paper, and having thousands of those, it's really difficult to get the information unless you go through it, very time consuming. So I decided every time I got some paper, I would put it in the computer, and by doing that you could easily find connection. Okay, this motorcycle first came to Reykjavik, and then it was sold to Akureyri, and this guy owned it, and so you could connect it to the history, and then you could try to connect the families and see, maybe in some cases you would find the owner and talk to them about the motorcycles, make it, the stories too.
Yeah. Now you went on to write, you have 3 books out now?
Yeah, I have my 3rd book in the prints now. The first one I did to celebrate the 100th anniversary of motorcycling in Iceland in 2005.
And what was the name of that book?
Þá riðu hetjur héruð, which is a quote from old Icelandic sagas when we had Vikings.
Okay.
You could translate that into, back then heroes rode the neighborhood,
Oh wow.
And then I thought it was a great quote, so I used it for my book, because the guys that had the motorcycles back in the 20s, they were pioneers, going over, for example, the mountain passes here around Akureyri, first crossing on a motorized vehicle or on a motorcycle, going, using roads that sheeps made,
Oh yeah.
because they had single track and the motorcycle was single track, so.
Wow.
Didn't have any 2 tracks road back then.
Now, is that book translated into English at all, or
no,
just Icelandic?
Yeah.
Is that for all 3 of your books?
Only Icelandic, yes. But
okay.
I had some interest in the book about the American motorcycles I did. That was the last book I did.
That's the 3rd one?
No, the 3rd one is about European motorcycles.
Okay.
And now I only have to do the last one. It will be about Japanese motorcycles.
Okay.
Because they took over here in Iceland, like in other countries.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the first one I did was about American motorcycles here in Iceland.
What's the name of that book?
The American, the American legend.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was an interesting story that you said about someone who was a friend of J.R.R. Tolkien that was motorcycling in the area.
Yeah.
Could you touch on that a little bit?
Well, yeah, that was a guy that was teaching English here in Iceland, all over Iceland actually, and he liked to travel here. He had a Sunbeam motorcycle, a British motorcycle, and he rode all over the country. It was back in 1933 to 1936.
Wow.
And he rode to Dettifoss and Vatnajökull Glacier, and did quite a lot of travel. But when I did some research on that guy, he was actually a very good friend of J.R.R. Tolkien, the guy who wrote The Hobbit, and those stories that went to the film. And,
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. And we were talking about the creature Smeagol, and that came from an Icelandic word called smjúa, somebody who is creeping around, And yeah, it seems that a lot of has gone into the books from the Icelandic language for the elf language that they used in the book.
And you had also mentioned your 50th birthday. You basically circumnavigated Iceland?
Yeah, a little bit more, because I decided instead of having a big party to just do this Armband saddle sore 1000 doing 1000 miles in less than 24 hours. And doing it here in Iceland, sometimes you have to do it here in gravel roads too, you know.
Oh wow, okay.
And it was something else. I liked it, but 100 kilometers then I was thinking to myself, wow, you must be crazy doing that on your 50th birthday. What you're thinking.
What kind of bike did you do that on?
On a BMW 1200, not the big ones, but I have what is called HB2 Enduro.
Okay.
Which you could say is a cut down version of it, only 177 kilos. So a bike that was built for Paris-Dakar, but when that bike came to light, then the organizers for Paris-Dakar thought this is too crazy for Paris-Dakar. We must lower the regulation, and then they changed the maximum engine into 450, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, so BMW, they instead put it on the market for a couple of years. It's a really nice bike.
Now I understand you were talking last night again about you've got a pretty sizable collection of motorcycles, and some of them are kind of rare ones like that, yeah? Yeah, you could say.
I try to collect the motorcycles with Icelandic history, you know, because I like to connect them with what I have accumulated in, you know, pictures and registrations and stuff like that. So most of my motorcycles are like that. I just on my birthday, 2 days back, I bought a Sunda KS 601 from 1951. A motorcycle that I've been trying to get for 3 years now. I have about, if you talk old motorcycles, I have about 40 that are considered, you know, antiques.
Okay.
And I have 6 of them are Harleys. Nice. And the oldest one is from 1927. And I have the oldest motorcycle in Iceland. Still gathering the parts for that, but I'm mostly there. It's Indian 1918 Power Plus.
This is the oldest motorcycle in the country, and you own it?
Yeah.
Wow. Here we're at the museum, and you've got the oldest motorcycle. He's got to be hounding you to get that bike from you.
There's one here, Henderson, that is actually from 1919. The motor was made in, the block of the motor was made in 1918, so it's really close in age, but mine is for sure 1918. There are not many records of women on motorcycles here in the early days, but probably the earliest one was this midwife here, Helga Maria, who used a 500cc Triumph to deliver babies.
Nice.
The other one, the second one...
Now wait, did they have a sidecar she left with the babies in?
No. Only to deliver. Well, but the other one we know of is, they are actually both from this part of the country, in the north. Kristin, she was really small and tiny. Yeah. So she had a tiny motorcycle, 150 Royal Enfield, that's similar to the ones they used to drop out of aeroplanes in World War II. Oh wow! You know, in parachutes. Is it more common now? Do you see a lot of female motorcyclists in the country now? A lot, yes. A lot of interest. I see that in my work as a motorcycle trainer. Well, thank you for taking the time to speak with me. I appreciate it. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing what's coming out with when your third book comes out on the European bikes, and then also the fourth one. Hopefully there's American translations, because I do not read Icelandic, so we'll see what happens there. You can do everything today with your phone, so. That's true, you can translate it all. That's absolutely true. All right, awesome, thank you very much.